What's going on, guys? It's your boy crobbyrob, and today I am going to teach you how to get your first muscle up. This is going to be the simplest explanation of how you guys can actually get your first muscle up and what it looks like when you're actually learning and working towards your first muscle up if you can't do one. Now, an exercise like the muscle up is a skill and a explosive strength movement combined into one. Which basically means there's a strength aspect and there's a technique aspect, and we need to work on both of those things if we're going to successfully hit our first muscle up. The first most common misconception about the muscle up is that you have to do a certain number of pull-ups, where this just isn't necessarily true. Now, while having a foundation built is going to be absolutely essential to learning the muscle up, and that does take time to kind of build, there is no prerequisite, guys, for straight bar dips or pull-ups like some of the misconfusion out there. Both of those are great exercises to get proficient in to actually hit your first muscle up, but the actual number of pull-ups and dips you would have to do in order to do a muscle up doesn't necessarily correlate person to person. Rather, there's a super easy, super simple way to see if you can muscle up right now, and I'm going to show you guys what that is. The strength test for the muscle up is super simple, super easy, and you guys can do it right now. Now, the strength test is simply going to take the hardest part of the muscle up, which is the transition, and break down if you're ready for that transition yet or not. All you have to do for the strength test is get up on a pull-up bar and pull the bar as high as you can, seeing if you can pull the bar all the way to your bottom chest line. If you can pull the bar to your bottom chest line, then you absolutely have the strength down to get your first muscle up, and you simply need to go on to the next step and learn the technique. Now, the biggest key with the strength test is in how you pull. If you guys are simply doing your pull-ups like this, you're going to get stuck hitting the bar, and you're not going to be able to pull as high as you might be able to. What you need to do is focus on pulling up and around, using hollow body pull-ups to pull as high as you can and see where you can actually pull to. Once you guys get to a high enough level, you will eventually be able to pull your waist all the way to the bar, basically completing the muscle up without ever having to worry about anything else. Now, you don't have to be at this level to start tackling and get your first muscle up. It's just a baseline so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. Now, if you couldn't pass the strength test, here's exactly what you're gonna do and where you're gonna start. Now, there are a bunch of different ways that you guys could actually tackle and get your first muscle up, but I'm gonna give you pretty much the 3 best and only exercises you need to actually get your first muscle up. These are gonna be exercises like L-sit pull-ups, high explosive hollow body pull-ups, and if you have access to weighted pull-ups, those are going to be the easiest way to work towards getting your first full muscle up. When you do these exercises, focus on pulling with control and explosiveness. What I mean by that is simply pulling as explosive and high as you can, and then really controlling the negative portion of the exercise, as that is how you're going to build raw power and strength to actually correlate and translate to harder exercises and getting your first muscle up. Now that you guys have the strength portion down, let's tackle the technique side of getting your first muscle up. Technique is going to be absolutely essential for getting your first muscle up while you are still learning. I've seen a lot of confusion about people thinking that their first muscle up needs to be this perfect strict form muscle up, and that is not how it works, guys. If your muscle ups are stuck looking like this, then you're gonna wanna practice the strength exercises and learn the proper technique so that you can actually clean up your muscle up slowly over time. Now I'm going to teach you guys the technique breakdown in the simplest and easiest way possible so that this is the only muscle up guide you're ever going to need to watch. Now, the first step is the easiest, and it's simply going to be over gripping the bar. I learned this from one of the all-time greats, Chris Heria himself. Over gripping the bar is absolutely key and crucial for the muscle up, especially as you're learning. It's something that you should focus on and do every time. You don't want to have this weak, loose grip down here, as it's going to make the transition impossible for the muscle up. Really over grip the bar so that you guys are ready to actually pull and kill your muscle up. The second step is going to be the swing through of the muscle up. This is one of the essential steps, and if you mess up the timing of this swing through, it can throw off your whole entire muscle up as you're first learning. The biggest key with the swing through after you've overgripped the bar is to have a shoulder width apart grip. And when you swing through, most people teach you that you want your foot to go out in front and almost tap a spot out in front of you to where you generate some momentum. What I like to do is I actually like to think of it as having your chest be the furthest thing out in front of you. So on the swing through, you want to practice keeping your shoulders back, keeping your feet back, and letting your chest go forward. You guys add in a slight pull, what you'll notice is you start to swing back and forth in a controlled manner because you're generating power, real power. What this is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to complete the full muscle up movement of getting up and around the bar to actually get your first muscle up. Now, step 3 is the timing. Once you get to a point to where you've swung through and you can feel your chest open up, your chest is the furthest thing out in front of you, you're going to want to focus on a few key steps to complete the timing to get up and around and over the bar. For the muscle up, we are not just pulling up. We're actually pulling back first, then up, then around, all almost at the same time. The next thing you're going to want to focus on is as you go and your cue to pull is when you feel your chest open up. Feel that? Drive your knees and pull back, up, and around at the same time until you get your chest and head above and over the bar by leaning forward. Again, as you guys get your chest to open up and be the furthest thing out, you feel that pull. That's your cue to drive. Make sure you drive your knees up to the bar when you're first learning. This is going to help you guys get a feel for what it's like to get up and over the bar. Kipping is absolutely okay when you guys are first learning. Over time, you will clean that up and you won't have to kip at all. Using the momentum from the pull through, driving your knees, and leaning over the bar is the easiest way to actually complete your first muscle up. When you're first learning, this is essential for learning the technique of the movement so that you can actually work on the movement pattern itself. Really focus on your swing through, do your drive, and then simply straight bar dip up, which is the last step to completing your first muscle up. The straight bar dip is the second easiest step. All you have to do is once you're lean here, straight bar dip up. This is why it's a good idea to practice your straight bar dips, but there's not necessarily a prerequisite as you're not going to be repping out a ton of muscle ups right from the get-go. When you combine all of these steps together, you get to a point to where it becomes a lot smoother and you can start dropping some of the steps. For instance, you won't have to kip with your knees, and eventually you won't even have to use the swing through on the second step as much as you build the raw strength to actually perform a muscle up. But when you're first learning, guys, this is the key, getting that first muscle up. All in all, guys, there's really only a couple key things that you're gonna have to focus on to get your first muscle up. Firstly, you need to be able to pass the strength test. This is actually really important. In order to do that, you're gonna focus on those exercises like L-sit pull-ups, high explosive pull-ups, weighted pull-ups if you have access, and you could even do band assisted muscle ups to help with both the strength and technique side of getting your first muscle up. After that, you're going to want to make sure you learn the technique side of the muscle up, as this is absolutely important when you're first learning to learn this technique so that you can actually get up and around and over the bar. Over time, you guys are going to want to keep using the strength exercises to make progress in to actually clean up your muscle up to get to this level where you can actually just do strict straight muscle ups. This has been crobbyrob, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If this helped you get your first muscle up, please drop a comment and share this video with someone that could really benefit, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys, and I want to start delivering high quality content helping you guys learn calisthenics. As always, if you guys are still unsure about how to progress and how to get your first muscle up, or you're still struggling, sign up online for my one-on-one coaching where I will actually break down and work with you and teach you every little thing you need to know in order to accomplish calisthenics skills. Catch you on the next crobbyrob video.